There are two pieces of legislation that affect foreign buyers in Canada and Ontario. Let's start with the province of Ontario first. The non-resident speculation tax, also known as NRST, was in effect for the Golden Horseshoe area at 15%. Effective March 30th, 2022, the NRST covers all of Ontario and now is at 20% from 15%. For example, if a non-resident buys a house for $1.5 million, the NRST payable above and beyond land transfer taxes and legal fees is $300,000. Yes, $300,000. The NRST applies to all foreign entities, either foreign nationals, individuals who are neither Canadian citizens nor permanent residents of Canada, foreign corporations, and foreign taxable trustees. There are some properties that are not subject to the NRST, even if purchased by a foreign entity. These include multi-residential buildings with more than 6 units, agricultural land, commercial and industrial lands. If the buyers are a combination of foreign nationals and Canadian citizens, the NRST is payable at the full value of the purchase. For example, if the foreign buyer owns 1% and a Canadian resident owns 99% of that specific property, the payable NRST is at 100% of the purchase price. One exemption from the NRST is if the foreign buyer is a spouse of a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident of Canada. Now, if a foreign buyer and their exempt spouse held the property with any other owners, in order for the NRST not to be applicable, those owners must be Canadian citizens or permanent residents of Canada or a spouse of a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. Otherwise, the NRST tax is payable. Let's talk rebates. In these cases, the foreign buyers would pay the NRST upfront and then apply for a rebate. It is important to budget for this cost at closing time. Here are scenarios where the buyers might be eligible for a rebate. 1. Become a permanent resident of Canada within 4 years of the date of the acquisition of the taxable property. 2. Occupy the property as their principal residence, not an investment property, but as their principal residence. 3. International students may be entitled to the rebate of the NRST tax if they satisfy certain conditions. 4. Foreign nationals working in Ontario may also qualify for the rebate. This is it for Ontario's legislation with respect to foreign buyers. Let's take a look at the federal law, which covers all of Canada. As of January 1st, 2023, Bill C-19 prohibits the purchase of residential property by non-Canadians for 2 years, so until the end of 2024. Similar to Ontario, non-Canadian is defined as an individual who is neither a Canadian citizen nor a permanent resident, nor a corporation incorporated elsewhere other than Canada. There are two important definitions you need to know. 1. Non-residents whose spouses are Canadian citizens or permanent residents are exempt. 2. Definition of residential property is a detached house containing no more than 3 units, semi-detached houses, new houses, and residential condominium units. Now, what if a non-Canadian buys a house after January 2023 and somehow just falls through the cracks and the transaction goes through? In this case, the legislation mandates a $10,000 fine, and the government may apply to the Superior Court of that province where the residential property was purchased for a court order to sell the property. In this case, the non-Canadian cannot profit from the sale. For example, if the non-Canadian bought the house for $1.5 million and now they're forced to sell and it sells for $1.8 million, via court order, the profit from that sale is not given to the non-Canadian owner. Keep in mind, once the federal legislation comes into effect on January 1st, 2023, the provincial NRST becomes irrelevant for 2 years as non-Canadians are not allowed to buy residential property. In conclusion, there are 3 important takeaways from these laws. 1. If you are a buyer, speak to your lawyer and real estate broker up front to ensure you are not impacted by either legislation. 2. If you're a buyer, have your real estate broker and lawyer verify the seller is not a non-resident due to the withholding tax implications and all the NRST and all the Bill C-19. 3. If you're a seller, ask your real estate broker and lawyer to verify upfront with the potential buyer they are not non-Canadian buyers. You don't want the sale to fall apart a few days before closing because you find out then, just then, the buyers are banned from buying the property. This will cause a lot of stress. Bottom line, speak to your real estate broker and lawyer upfront before you start the buying or selling process. It will save you a lot of sleepless nights. I hope you found this video informative. For more, check out this video where I explain the 2 reasons why condos and house prices will skyrocket in Toronto. And until next time, happy home hunting.